Hi folks, so I've been asked a few times to actually do a loadout or what's in my rucksack, and I decided to come to a local beauty spot where the bluebells happen to be out, and I thought I'd find a quiet place and record the contents of my rucksack. I'm going to concentrate on the base weight. My base weight is generally between 5 and 6 kilos normally, and in fact today it is 5.5 kilos. And when I was deciding what to base my video on, I decided I would do it as though what I think is the average height that happens in the UK, which is usually a week long, probably between 5 and 7 days, and usually 100 miles or thereabouts. And this is the kit or my base weight that I would normally include. So this of course excludes food, water and fuel, because that can vary quite a bit. Well, I might do a separate video on that at some point. So yeah, I'm just weaving my way through to somewhere where I can sit down and then we can get into the details. One of the things I thought I could cover off while I'm still walking is actually the rucksack. So this rucksack is what they term an Atom Plus, and it comes from a company actually called Atom, and they make custom made rucksacks here in the UK in Keswick in the Lake District. And this particular version, which is the Atom Plus, weighs, with the hip belt, weighs 701 grams I think it is. And yeah, it's waterproof, so don't necessarily need to carry a rucksack cover, but I do sometimes, depending on what I think the weather forecast is. And oh, I think we're here now, so let's try and get started. So as I said, I'm not including water and food, but it's what I use the pockets for normally at the front. And then the side pockets, in terms of on the hip belt, I've generally got first aid kit, and I'll probably put a few more protein bars in there, and equally on this side. Torch. What I find is if I charge this, it will last me through the whole week. Then I've got my food kit, actual spade, and then some wipes. Now, getting into the side pockets of the actual set itself. Now, always the debate about a zip mat. It's not totally necessary, of course, but it weighs 25 grams. I've debated a couple of times, do I take a quarter off, but I mean the saving would be negligible. It'll probably be more the fact that the bulk would be less, but hey. Then I use the B3 or Catadine water filter. I've used this for probably nearly 2 years. I changed out the filter once, and I'll probably do it again at some point. I did manage to lose on another occasion the actual bottle part. A waterfall actually took it out of my hand. Well, I've discovered that if I have dried food, so at night, what I've discovered is that I need sufficient water for soup, dried meal, and a cup of tea. And then in the morning, dried breakfast and a cup of coffee. And I find just the bottle on its own isn't enough water. So I fill up the filter as well, fill this up as well. And as you can see, it's a collapsible bottle. It's got 800 millilitres in it. And yeah, that's what I do for water. So, coming across to the other side, this is where I've got my poles hopefully securely in the side pocket. And yeah, the particular tent I'm carrying at the moment is a ALTO Sea to Summit tent. So the pole's a bit difficult to see. There you go. Kind of normal standard poles. And the tent itself weighs 1.3 kilos. So it's a little bit on the heavy side, but it is a 2-man tent. And I am thinking for fast packing, I might get a smaller 1-man tent if I'm just out, say, for one night. But I like a bit of comfort, so a 2-man tent. And I have done a review on it. I'll put a link in. But yeah, here's the Sea to Summit tent, ALTO 2. Now I always pack separate to the main compartment. So in actual fact here you'll see I have a liner. The liner itself weighs 27 grams and it's just obviously extra insurance policy against the waterproofness of this. I've never had any problems, but I don't want to find any problems. Right, then we get into my ditty bag, or I call it my hygiene bag. So all the bits and pieces that I would have in it, which would include, actually didn't know I had some tissues in there, well there you go, some tissues. I carry talcum powder, so at the end of the day I really do look after my feet, so use the talcum powder. But what I will use first is some hand gel, as it happens. We've all been using for coronavirus. I actually used to clean my feet and then I put talcum powder on. Got some tenacious tape. Not sure how that helps my hygiene, but I had nowhere else to put it. Toothbrush, which has been cut down a little bit, mainly because I just want it to fit easily in my bag. Some bike cream, a travel toothpaste, and travel deodorant. Yeah, and that's my kind of hygiene kit in a particular bag. Then we get to another small bag. Now this has all my electronics in. Now you might not necessarily need the amount of electronics I need, because obviously I've got camera gear, but so I have usually 3 leads in there for all the different types of things that I have. Battery, this one at the moment, I think it's 25. No, it's 15. So I have a 5, a 15 and a 25, depending on how many days I'm going for. And then I've got this plug here, which I got off Amazon. I think I'm just so excited by it. It kind of comes out like that. There's the third part like that, and you've got a USB thing on the side. On the side, on the front. Yeah, it costs very little, but obviously in terms of packing, great little thing. And obviously that means I have to go in a cafe or a pub to make sure I get my stuff charged up. Absolutely have to. Particularly if I'm away for a week. Then one of my latest finds is this actual sleeping mat. It's a short mat and it's one done by Van Gogh. I'll give you a close-up. This actually cost 40 quid. Sorry, £40 sterling. And it's a real bargain. But it works really well. It's quite wide at the shoulders as well, so yeah, probably favourite find them. Now here's a luxury item, I think, but what I wouldn't do without. When you get to be an old man like me, you need to pop out the loo in the middle of the night, and I ain't going out in bare feet, so I have my slippers. What surprises me though is the weight of them. So the weight of these actually weighs less than my flip-flops. So depending on the season, I'll either be using these or my flip-flops. Now come to part of my cooking kit. So I've got a titanium kind of, I mean, it's a bowl, isn't it, really? Say cup, bowl, whatever. That's all it is. I then fashioned a pie, silver foil, and it's a bit, this one's a bit messed up now, but usually you can see there the lip kind of just goes over it. It's like perfect size. And it just cuts a bit of a hole there so I can see the water boiling. And it works perfectly fine. What comes next? Oh yeah, of course. So I do use, like I say, the dried meals that you usually purchase, probably for just the evening meal. So I need a titanium spoon. But my other crazy thing, I'll come to in a minute actually. Then I have fire starter and a pen knife. Next thing is, and then the bag that's in is actually a Dyneema peg bag, but it obviously weighs nothing, but it's very convenient for putting those things in. Very bizarrely, my tent pegs are not in a Dyneema tent bag. And then we have the BRS 3000. So another thing from Amazon. I mean, it's tiny. I think it weighs 26 grams. And it cost, I think, 18 quid. Sorry, 18 pounds sterling. So, yeah. And the thing is, I sort of end up playing with it. Yeah, put it down, Nigel. Then, have a towel. Not particularly big. Not that you need a particularly big towel. There you go. And then I have a sponge. So the towel's for me, and the sponge is for the tent, of course. Getting the dew off or the rain off before I pack it away, which is always helpful. To reduce the size as much, reduce the weight as much as anything. Now, this is a little bit controversial, and I can see for some people. It's kind of like the quantity of clothes that you take. For me, I think I err more on the side of luxury. I think the weight of what I've got here is about 3/4 of a kilo. The other thing, you can see the shape of this. I will put a buff over it and use it as a pillow. And I might include in the pillow what I'm wearing as well. So I think I'm taking more than some, certainly from what I see on YouTube. So I've actually got 2 t-shirts. I tend to have 2 of everything, except for trousers. So I've got a pair, these are actually a pair of shorts. So certainly in summertime or 3-season, wear a pair of trousers traveling to get to the start and maybe at the finish. But then I might wear the shorts throughout the rest of the days, depending on the weather. But yeah, 2 sets of underwear and 2 sets of socks. Now my thinking is, and certainly what I do, is obviously wearing a pair to start with, then come the second pair. First pair might get washed depending on the circumstances, if I can find appropriate stream or not, and then probably be trying to dry those, and then I've still got a 3rd pair. So I kind of working on the theory that things are next to your skin, if possible, in terms of keeping dry and warm. You probably need 3 pairs or 3 things. So 3 t-shirts, 3 pairs of socks, 3 pairs of underwear. That's my theory anyhow. Okay, what do we have next? Yeah, final item, of course, which is the sleeping bag. And I use a Thermarest Hyperion. It says -6. But of course, as we all know, not really -6. I would not want to go down to -6 degrees in this sleeping bag. I do use it all year round, but it always gets me with sleeping bags when they say about what it does in here, that
actually 0 degrees is comfort, -6 is transition range, and then -23 is race. Well, I definitely agree with the risk. I would say as soon as you get below 0, this bag is starting to struggle. Of course, it depends on what you're wearing. So I use this bag all year round, but obviously wear less in bed in the summer and nearly fully dressed in winter. Okay, so that's my base weight. All these items here, including the rucksack, weigh 5.5 kilos, about slightly less than that. And as I say, I would add water, food and fuel, and that'll probably push me towards 7.5, 8 kilos. Like I say, it really depends on how many days I'm going for. So I think that's it. If you've got any questions, certainly drop me a line. I'm probably just as interested in your observations and comments about, well, Nigel, I actually think you could swap that out. I mean, I'm very aware that certain of the items I'm taking probably fall a little bit into the luxury, but I think at 5.5 kilos, I can afford to carry that. One of my other observations is that as I shave bits of weight off here and there, and in particular reduce the volume, I'm now thinking a 40-litre pack possibly is too big. I could possibly drop to maybe 30 litres. Be interested in your thoughts on that. I think that's it. I think I've covered everything. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the trails.